I will never quit until people understand the entire esoteric conception of how the earth is actually mapped and modeled. Let me explain. This statue is actually a perfect symbolical representation of how the West sees itself in comparison to the rest of the world. In 1884, there was a conference that was held on the International Committee for figuring out what the meridian was going to be, called the prime meridian. That was decided through Greenwich, England. And since then, we have had the East versus the Western world. Now, I like to think of it as you have three parts, just like you have three brains in your body. You have your higher brain, you have your heart, and then you have your lower brain, which is the celiac ganglion or the solar plexus of the body. Now, the Eastern world was more focused on unity and spiritualism, intelligence, higher consciousness, things like that. The Western world was more focused on how to live as a human being. One was more like with God in nature and spirit, and one was more a counterpart to God in nature and spirit. One was more connected and one was more segregated. And we see that in the politics and the way that these cultures developed over time. But now, what if I told you that this entire Eastern-Western split is actually found within our body, and they just took this map of the body and plastered it on the earth? Let's study this, for example. Let's take the diaphragm as the prime meridian. Everything above it would be the east, and everything below it would be the west. The Eastern world is more focused on the unity and the spiritual aspect of life. They're very focused on higher intelligence, whereas the lower world is focused on how you can use energy to manipulate things and sales in order to attain money and wealth and power. Going back to this statue, it would make sense that we would have this Atlas underdog energy in the West, because that is exactly the type of frequency that the Western world embodies. It is the one below holding up the world, whereas you have that idea of the monks in the Eastern world going to the top of the mountain. The West is always carrying this literal chip on their shoulder, as if they are pushing and throttling the rest of the world and society as a whole. Keep in mind, this is not about segregation. This is really about unity, right? We have so much that we can learn from each other as cultures, and we're not born from the head. We're born from the gut. We're born from the genital, the lower mind, that lower brain. You have a gut-brain axis, which rules over your emotional state. You don't feel emotions up here. You feel them down here. So whereas the West is trying to excel in that emotional depth and what it really means to be human, the East is excelling in the spiritual mysticism, which is why they have all the temples high in the mountains that you don't really see in the Western world. What do you think about my analysis? Drop a comment down below. And if this video interests you, I highly advise you go check out my online university, Psycosmos University. We have 56 members, and there's a 7-day free trial, so you can go test it out for yourself and see what you think. All the links are in the bio. I love you, and I'll see you there.